What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm the Korrupted Judge, and there's no better way to say this. Welcome to the Second Circle Third Date recaps and/or final judging. If you guys haven't seen the last Second Circle video, which literally is the last Second Circle video for the time being, I have officially completed the game up to date now. I really did not want to see that game go, but I had no other choice but to finish the game because I know you guys really liked it. And as tradition dictates, every time I finish a set of dates, I must judge and recap. And of course, like I did with the second dates, I'm going to be using the game to help me out a little bit. But of course, probably not in the way you guys are thinking. With that said, let's kick it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start this off with the very first date, and which was for Pandamonica, the tired/sadistic demon. This date was the first step in the right direction for us. It was really wholesome. It was easy for us. It ended absolutely well on a good note. We took Pandamonica over to a beach area along with the other demons, Judgment, Cerberus, and as well as Azazel. And I gotta tell you, they all looked absolutely amazing in their bathing suits. Just putting it out there, Judgment especially. And we managed to get Pandamonica's voices or whatever to quiet down to the point where she didn't have to hear them anymore. And we stayed up at the beach and completely fine all the way up into the sunset. Unfortunately, once we left and went back to the house, the voices continued. We think. Pandamonica did try to tell us something at the end of the date, however, we were not listening. So there was a possibility that maybe the voices had officially stopped and she's no longer mentally in hell. So maybe the voices stop. But because Helltaker, aka Frank, as I like to call him sometimes, is too much of a dunce and too thick-skulled, he didn't let her finish. Not much lore within this date, but at least we got a really happy ending to the start of the session. Next up, we got Modius' date. Now, I gotta tell you guys, this one kind of threw me a little bit for a loop. In Modius' second date, she told us about all this problems with her whole lustful nature and everything like that, and how she's the embodiment of lust herself, which is kind of something we're going to circle back to later on in this review, assuming I remember. So, in our third date, we had to find a way to basically make a comfortable setting for her, where she can technically be lube, at the same time she could be normal and everything like that. We ended up taking her salsa dancing. And I gotta tell you, it was really nice to see Modius smile and everything like that. We found something that she really likes to do, and it seems like she really wanted to continue doing it. There's not much lore or anything to say in this date either, but it did end with a happy note. Cerberus' third date. Oh my. Cerberus' third date kind of consisted of us basically trying to figure out what's going on with Cerberus. She wants to know what her purpose is and what Lucy's hiding from her. We ended up having to draw a bunch of hexes and pentagrams all around the house in order to protect it from a bunch of dark forces, which is understandable. And there wasn't much we could do. We did get a choice within that date whether or not to agree with Cerberus that Lucy does not care about the well-being of the other demons, or that we can go side with Lucy and say that she does care about their well-being. I openly decided in the main game that we played that she does care about everyone's well-being. And I think at some point I did show you guys the side option of basically what happens when we side with Cerberus, which isn't much. Basically, we just talk about how Lucy's this and that. We talk about the stuff Lucy's neglected to do versus what I chose. She chooses to do all the positive stuff. So there wasn't much there. The ending, however, was actually really interesting, where instead of Cerberus trying to go to Lucy and figuring out what the answers are, she's now going to try and go to Maimon. So when that fourth day comes out, we're going to go Maimon hunting. Oh man, this one contained a little bit of lore. Malina's third date really helped us understand the background between her and her older sister Zadrada, which, yes, she is the older sister. We've managed to figure that out. In her date, she pretty much explained, she ended up in this big, depressing loop or whatever, drinking profusely. We went with Cerberus over to the liquor store to find something that she would like, something a little more tart rather than sweet. We had the option to wake up Abby to pay for her drink, or we could just leave the money there for her. I ended up choosing to wake Abby up, and in that moment, I realized the type of game that I was actually playing when it said Abby will remember that. This is like a Walking Dead cycle which means odds are some point in the update for the 4th dates, there's a potential that we're going to get screwed by Abby. Now, continuing on, Malina continued to tell us a story about how her and Zadrada lived, I guess, in the hell version of the Bronx. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, I'm just going by kind of what I understand. So she goes on to tell us that they kind of lived in a dump and everything like that. They would always have to hustle and everything. And then eventually, Malina gets shot by a silver bullet, which is weird because I don't think silver can kill a demon. Not like that. But this is Team 133's universe, so they can do whatever they want. So Zadrada had to work twice as hard. She ended up having to go into a bunch of underground fights and everything like that. And there was a suggestive thing where she may have put herself up for money, I guess is the best way to put it, without YouTube trying to flag me. Yeah. And it ended with Malina kind of understanding the situation herself, and that we helped her decide that she's going to try and get along with Zadrada and try and rekindle the sisterly relationship they had and rebuild the bridges that they had burned. It was a really interesting story, guys. The video itself is far more detailed than what I can be. I'll leave a link to the playlist in the description, guys, if you guys want to go check it out. Of course, it's also going to be in the end, very end card. Zadrada's date, that kind of gave us an idea of the other side of the story. But not only that, but this is one of the most action-packed parts of the whole thing. Zadrada's date wasn't so much as a date, as more of us understanding Zadrada's feelings and emotions. And I gotta tell you, as much as I hated Zadrada for ruining a lot of our past dates, one with Malina, the second date with Malina, and then the second date with Judgment, I couldn't forgive her for that. But then I eventually understood why she always acted out like that. It's her way of seeking attention, in a sense. That she doesn't want somebody to leave, and that she acts out like this, thinking, if they're gonna leave me anyways, I might as well make them leave myself. So we find out that she still had the cactus that Malina threw in the trash, that she tried to fix it and everything like that. And then all hell broke loose when Belphegor, I'm making sure I say that right, showed up out of the bushes, burnt the place to the ground, and basically her, Belphegor and Mayman, who shows up later on, gave them an ultimatum that if they do not get what it is that they want, there will be hell to pay. And there's going to be a little more detail on that later on in this video, guys. In the end, we ended up comforting Zadrada and telling her that no matter what's going to happen, we're going to fix that plant, even if we have to get the soul back from hell ourselves. It's a really interesting story, guys. The video itself will probably explain it better again. The whole Malina Zadrada arc thing, it's so much better if you guys watch it for yourselves. It makes a whole lot more sense than how I'm explaining it. This one didn't necessarily have a whole lot of lore, but it did have a few biblical moments. Azazel's third date, which consisted of us going back to the museum that we've been going through and figuring out what paintings were real, what exhibits were fake, and catching the perpetrator themselves. I originally thought that maybe it was Mayman who was stealing them because, she's the embodiment of the sin of greed, but I was completely wrong, and it turns out that it was just a regular person stealing them. The only significant thing to this date that I can recall was Azazel revealing her biblical form, and yeah. So there isn't too much to say about this date, really. It's more of a Christian-style story, to put it at best. So not really much we could do there. Justice's third date. Now I gotta tell you guys, this was a little bit of an interesting one. It's not necessarily lore applications per se, but it did give us a little bit of a backstory in regards to Taker's lifestyle. We ended up learning that Taker's hobbies went far back when he was a kid and everything like that. We learned that he was a bit of an artist, and that when the antique shop or hobby shop that was shutting down, he decided to rally up with a bunch of people, raise enough money, and they ended up going off to saving the place. And we also met quote-unquote Grandpa Taker, who isn't really Taker's grandpa, but that was a bit of a clickbait. That's pretty much all we can say there. My favorite date out of all of them, the Judgment third date. There's so much I could say about it, but I gotta keep it all in one video, guys. So all I can tell you guys is that we went to the park with Judgment, got some ice cream with Modius and Cerberus. Judgment finally decided to open up to us, and she told us, or we told her, that it's okay for her to be herself, that she doesn't have to put on this tough girl tomboy facade anymore. She can be whoever she wants to be here on the mortal realm. And we finally managed to get Judgment the Nice Demon back. That's all I need to say about this. It's one of the most wholesome dates out here, and I absolutely love it. Lucy's third date. Oh my god, this one really pulls it out. We basically get the opportunity here to decide if we want to unlock the Beale third date or not. And this thing was an emotional roller coaster. We managed to get Lucy's backstory entirely along with Beelzebub. We figured out how they just took down the four lords. We figured out what happened between Beale and Lucy. They had this big quarrel in regards to the fight. Fight for the throne, fight for power. And eventually how Beale was actually truly banished from the realm. And how Azazel lost her, or not Azazel, how Justice lost her vision and was no longer High Prosecutor. That video itself will explain it a whole lot more. Like I said, playlist is going to be in the description. This date, right here, there's so much that I could say about this date. I did it in 2 parts. I ended up doing the first date, or first half of it, twice. We learned that time moves extremely differently in the Void, where basically a couple weeks can equal on to several months, or not several months, several years. And within those quote-unquote several years, Beale and Walted decided to come up with a plan to keep Taker into the Abyss so that he can stay with Beale. Which is to basically say that there are monsters somehow rummaging through the castle and that they feed off magical energy, specifically the portals that they use to go in and out. It's later revealed in the date that Walted orchestrated the whole plan because he saw how happy it made Beale. So he kept going from there. I don't want to spoil the ending of the date for you guys. It's better if you guys go see it for yourself. But I gotta tell you, it's probably one of the most emotional things that I have ever seen. Given a lot of my personal circumstances as well, a lot of personal things that went on, recent events, the music itself, I honestly was not ready for that. Not even close. Out of all of this, it's been an absolute amazing journey that I got to take with you guys for this whole game. What am I going to do now? Honestly, I have no idea. Not yet, at least. This has been the final judgment call. I know it's probably not what a lot of you had expected from me. It's kind of short, it's kind of sweet, a lot of it gets to the point, and it's basically with all these third dates, it's so much more of an explanation if you guys go and watch them for yourself. This isn't me asking for views. This is literally me telling you guys that this whole storyline in this game is absolutely amazing. I don't play games for the gameplay itself. I play it for the storyline. There's so much story involved in these games. It's why one of the reasons I like the Paper Mario series is because I really love the story behind them. Now, one thing that I've kind of been putting off is my top 5 of the Helltaker girls. As you guys all know, Judgment will always be my number 1. But who the heck are the other 4? Throughout these days, it's been really tough to figure out. But if I really had to put it into numbers, number 1 is Judgment, number 2 is Beale, 3 is Lucy, 4 is going to be Malina, and 5 would have to probably be Azazel. Solely for her wholesomeness. It was really strong between Azazel and Modius, but I had to go with Azazel on this one, given how everything ended properly and how she really put things together. I don't know if those picks are good for you guys, but those are my picks right now. And yeah, I'm sorry if this video wasn't as exciting for you guys. I'm more kind of disappointed that all of this is kind of ending now, because I don't know what it is I'm going to do next. As I've stated before, guys, at one point, I'm going to take a 1-week break from the channel after finishing this game, so kind of catch my bearings, put everything together. So, this is going to be uploaded on the 8th of July, so you guys aren't going to see me again until July 15th, where we're going to figure out what's going to happen to the rest of this channel. Of course, if you guys are commenting, I'm always going to be in the comments. If you guys want to go over to my Twitter, I'm more active over there as well. That link will be in the description as well. And in the description is going to be Team 133's Twitter, as well as a link to go get the game yourself, guys. It's a really amazing game, and you guys need to go and do your own choices and do your own routes. When I come back, maybe we'll go back into the game and we'll check out a lot of the choices that I didn't make. But for now, I guess I'll see you guys in a week. I'm the Korrupted Judge, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around.